that you listen properly and don't leave the meeting in between. Meanwhile, you can also message your friends to be in the session. Not only for attendance, but for getting the proper information for Unit 2. Okay. Able to see the information what I'm displaying you? Say yes or no? Kindly reply.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, okay. So from today onwards, we have to go through all the Unit 2 concepts, which is very simple. Can anyone tell the concept development phase? The steps involved? Do you remember the diagram? Starting from mission statement. Please reply. Anyone? Please reply. Do you know? Do you remember the concept that front end process steps? See, I'm asking about the concept development phase, which is said to be front end process. I have told the first step, mission statement, then identifying the customer need. Can you all say the process flow? Please reply.
Establishing target specification.
Very good. Next.
Concept generation.
Yes.
Concept selection.
Very good. Next.
Concept testing. Setting final specification. Project planning.
Yes, this you should not forget. For all students, I'm telling that. Okay. Good. Our friends will always come in between and disturb us. So from today onwards, we have to start discussing our Unit 2 concept, that is concept generations and selection. The title for Unit 2 is concept generation and selection. Okay, these are the topics we are going to cover in Unit 2. Okay, which is a very important part in the product development process. This concept generation is acting as an integral part of the development process. That is very important to be known to the students. So from today, we have to start what is task. Today we are going to discuss about what is task. It is not given in your book, but you have to know some definition part when they ask in a final exam for 2 marks. Task, then followed by some structural approach. What do you mean by structural approach? Some methods to be followed when you are undergoing a concept generation phase. Very simple. In that today we are going to first cover the first step. There are 5 steps involved. In that first step alone, we are going to cover actually the structural approach, where it consists of 5 methods, can be covered within 1 day. But need not insist the students or make uncomfortableness to the students to know all the information regarding that 5 steps. அதனால இன்னைக்கு ஃபர்ஸ்ட் ஸ்டெப் மட்டும் பார்க்கலாம். That you be thorough, regular study பண்ணிட்டே இருங்க. So what is the definition of task? What do you mean by general meaning of task? Anybody can tell me? Some piece of work to be done, okay, undertaken in that process, right? Oh, what is the goal of concept generation and selection? As Unit 2 consists of the title concept generation and selection, the goal of concept generation and selection is not to just select the best concept and keep. It's only one particular process, not just selecting the best concept. Try to understand the difference. The goal of concept generation and selection is to develop the best concept. It have to go till the target market. It have to reach to the manufacturing unit. It have to reach to the production part. It have to be developed properly. Have to be implemented. Have to be made functional. Okay. So the goal of concept generation and selection is to develop the best concept. Very important point. So the process involves. So task means here combining, refining initial concepts. So any product, if you see in our environment, whenever you use, beginning it was like something elaborate, separate parts have to be involved for operating that product. Now everything has been integrated. So the process involves combining and refining the initial concept to develop the better ones, which gives the betterment for the customer, which satisfy the customer more nowadays in updated technology. So this is called as task. So task is nothing but the goal of concept generation and selection is not just to select the best concept, but you have to develop the best concept. So the process here we say to develop the best concept. So what are the process involved in that? We are going to combine, refine initial concept to develop the better one. There will be 2 or 3 concepts involved for developing a product which will suit for the customer need, which is the best one. We have to select it as well as you have to focus on developing that best concept. Any doubt you have in this slide, please reply. Please reply, students.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, fine. Now, next we'll go to activities of concept generation. You just imagine that you are working in an organization under the concept generation process. Okay, you are one of the employee working in this phase. You just understand the title, the activity of concept generation. Activity means what? What is the general meaning of activity? What are the things happening in that process? What are the things being done in this process? Activity of concept generation. So a product concept is an appropriate description of technology. Or concept or innovations பண்றீங்க ஒரு ப்ராடக்ட்னா கண்டிப்பா it covers these points. It have to describe some technology in that. What are the working principle for that product? And forms. What are the arrangement for a product? For a final product look, what are the arrangement and what are the forms of the products? So you have to keep these things in mind. These are the activities involved in concept generation. First point is any product concept you are going to start for developing. It consists of description of the technology, working principle and form of the product. Form of the product. It is a conscious description of. It tells about some description about how the product will satisfy the customer need. So when you are doing some activity regarding concept generation, we have to focus on how the product is going to be worked along with the customer satisfaction needs given. Okay, how the product will satisfy the customer need. So these are all ongoing activities that you all know. You have to check with that. And the product concept should always be described with some technology, working principles and form of the product. Normally on those days they start doing that concept in expressing through sketching. Concepts are last generations or previous generations, they focus on just doing a sketching, how the product will look like at the final. Or they use some rough 3-dimensional model through CAD technology tool. This is often accompanied by a brief textual description. So any product concept, it covers some sketching, some rough 3-dimensional model and often accompanied by a brief textual descriptions. The textual descriptions tell about the technology going to be used in a product, some working principles, some forms, some arrangement for the product. Some parts are integrated, fabricated parts involved for creating the final product. So these are the activity of concept generation. Kindly note down these key points, very important. And as usual, we have to start focusing on concept development phase, which is a front-end process. Till now we have covered from unit 1, fixing a mission statement for the product or for an organization. To develop any product, we fix some mission statement. We have to identify and focusing the customer need. There are a lot of steps involved in that you all know, which was covered in unit 1. Then we focused on collecting all the specifications, all the values, metrics, okay, establishing target specifications, what are the general hint to be followed, what are the methods to be followed to establish the target specifications. Then today we have to focus on, which comes under unit 2, generate the product concept. And always when you cover each and every process involved in this concept development process, the ongoing activities are perform economic analysis. You have to compare with the benchmark competitive products, build and test models and prototypes. And very important key point you have to understand is concept generation phase, which we are covering in unit 2. It's acting as an integral part of the concept development phase. Very integral means what meaning? Very important, necessary in order to make something complete. When we say a product is complete, when the concept is good, when we are creating, focusing on good concepts. Okay, so it's acting as an integral part of the concept development phase. Just wait, students. Good, students are coming. As we have already told, concept generation is one of the integral part of the concept development phase. Why we say it is an integral part? Because it is acting as a necessary in order to make something complete. When a product is complete, when it is a good concept, automatically it reaches to the target market. Always good concept generations leaves the team with confidence. They normally learn more things on the updated technology. So always the good concept motivates the team members, and full space of alternatives has been explored. Explored means travel over the whole development phase will be in a growth level. Team members becomes confident when they develop the technology updated, when they satisfy the customer need. So always good concept generations leads to these things. Reasons to give importance to concept generation process. As we are telling, it is an integral part of the concept development phase. Why we give more importance in this process? Very important 2-mark question. The degree to which a product satisfies the customer need. Only if it is a good concept, customer can get good approval to the company. They tell us to develop more products on accepting our concept. So product satisfy the customer need here depends upon the quality of the underlying concept. Now always all the customers are independent of having some integrated part of products, right? So quality also should be good. Good concept have to be motivated for the customer. So this is a main reason why we give more importance for concept generation process. This is a very important point to be understood. A good concept is sometimes poor implemented. For example, maybe in some implementation part we can go wrong, that can be rectified, or something that can be rectified further in the process of development. But till now, till date, poor concept never leads to achieve the commercial success. Because poor concepts are not accepted by the customer or not accepted by the vendors to give parts or anything. Okay, most of the poor concepts are never lead to the commercial success. But even good concepts can poorly implemented means 1 or 2 drawbacks can be faced. They can face some challenge when they're developing that product, but it can be rectified. Okay, so but it will not go for the failure of the commercial success. But poor concept always lead to the failure. So only they say the point, never lead to achieve the commercial success when you focus on poor concept. So these are the very important reasons why we focus on concept generation process, why we have to give more importance for this concept generation process. So concept generation is relatively inexpensive when compared to identifying the customer need. You have to arrange some meetings, you have to gather the data, you have to spend some money for gathering customers, all those things. When compared to the establishing target specification, if you understand the real concept, for framing the metrics and values, we have to get the data from the benchmark competitive companies. So you have to spend some cost for those things. For the vendors to provide us the parts, components, we have to spend money. But in the concept generation, it is the idea of the people who are involved in the organization, right? It's relatively inexpensive when compared to the other phases. That only the point they have told here. Concept generation is relatively inexpensive and can be done relatively quickly in comparison to the rest of the development process. You know what are all the rest of the development process involved in the concept development phase. Starting from mission statement, then identifying the customer need, then establishing the target specification, then we move on concept generation. So till now, if you see, when establishing target specification, we have to spend some cost for buying some product, to approach some vendors, all those things. But this concept generation is inexpensive. It's cheap when compared to the remaining part of development process. Any doubt till now, students? Please reply. We have to understand why we give more importance for concept generation process. What are the three reasons for it? First one is products should always satisfy the customer need, because customer need depends on the quality of undergoing concept. Good concept is sometimes poorly implemented, but poor concepts are never leads to the true commercial success. Very important point. When compared to other development process, concept generation is relatively inexpensive. Any doubts, students? Please reply.
No,
Are
ma'am.
you all? Yes, thank you. Next, as I have told, each and every step involved in concept development phase follow some 5 steps, methods, then some guidelines. Till now, whatever we have covered, we have following some subheadings, all those things. Similarly, for concept generation and selection, we have to follow some structural approach. So, what is the structural approach? Why we have to focus on following some strategy or structural approach? To reduce the livelihood of costly problems. To when we are working under this concept generation, we should not face more challenges. To reduce the risk, we have to follow some structural approach. Very simple. Just wait, student. See them? It's responsible. They are coming. See till the end of the class. Fine. Now, common dysfunction exhibited by developing team during concept generation includes. Try to understand this. Common dysfunctions means what are the problems they face when they are not following the structural approach. That's the point here. That's why we have to follow the structural approach. If you are not following the structural approach under the concept generation phase when you are working, then you will face these problems. What are the problems? What are the common diffractions? What is diffraction here meaning? Abnormality. Okay, some common abnormality exhibited by development teams during the concept generation includes. First point, considerations of only one or two alternatives often proposed by the most excessive members of the team. Meaning is, so team work பண்றீங்க, you are working under concept generations. Only one or two alternatives you focus. So customer needs some good concepts. When you focus on one particular concept, you have to also get ready with alternative. If one concept failure, you have to get ready with 2 or 3 concepts. That's the meaning. Okay, so member of the team should understand the real problem or the real customer needs. On that, they have to focus on proper good concept. Focusing on only one concept will not lead to the success of the product. We have to focus on some alternatives. In the failure achana, the things, this can be replaced instead of that. So those things they face some issues, like considering only one or two alternatives offer proposed by the most excessive. What is meant by excessive? Believing in oneself. Okay, members of the team. So that's why under the concept generations, there are a lot of team formed. Each and every team should give on 40 or 50 concept. Okay, then after that, which is the best one will be chosen. Okay, that's the first challenge we face when you are not following some structural approach. Second, failure to consider carefully the usefulness of concept employed by other firm in relative and unrelative products. As you all know, few ongoing activities we have to perform. What is that ongoing activity? Benchmark competitive products. In some cases, when you work on concept generations, few concepts which is followed by the competitive products can also be followed in our new product. If you fail in using those concepts, okay, then that time also the concept you have selected becomes fail. So failure to consider carefully the usefulness of concept. அதனால தான் the ongoing activity have to be performed in every stages of development process. If you have failed to accept some important concept which is followed by competitive products, ஏன்னா நம்ம மோஸ்டா அவங்களோட மெட்ரிக்ஸ் வேல்யூஸ் தான் நம்ம ஒரு ஸ்டாண்டர்டா யூஸ் பண்றோம். Similarly, updated concept, updated technology which is used by the competitive products can also be used for your new product. If you fail in those things, then automatically you will face some costly problems. So failure to consider carefully the usefulness of the concept employed by other firms, other organization, other competitive organization in relative or unrelative products. ஓகே, நீங்க இப்போ ஒரு ஸ்மார்ட் போன்ஸ் டிஸ்கிரைப் பண்றீங்க, யூ வில் யூஸ் சம் காம்படிட்டிவ் ப்ராடக்ட்ல சாம்சங் ஆல் தட். அவங்களோட சேம் இப்போ ஆப்பிளோட ஃபுல் ஃபிளெஜ்டோட ஃபீச்சர்ஸ் வந்து சாம்சங் ட்ரை பண்ணுவாங்க மேட்ச் பண்றதுக்கு. பட் யூ கான்ட் கிவ் தட் மச் குவாலிட்டி ஆஸ் ரிலேட்டட் வித் ஆப்பிள் ப்ராடக்ட்ஸ். But they will match with some arrangement of products which is already given in Apple. Adudha. So some concept which is already available in a competitive products can also be followed for a new product. So if you fail in not observing those things, like ongoing activities pannala abdina, you will fail. You will face some costly problems. So failures to consider carefully the usefulness of concept employed by other firms in relative and non-relative products. Why they say non-relative products, like something you strategy you follow from the competitive products can give a good result for your new product. Or if you are related products means if you are going to create any tab or smartphones, then you most of the concept have to be followed from the competitive products. If you fail in these two things, then automatically you will face some costly problems in your new product. Involvement of only one or two people in the process. I have already told, just imagine that you are working under concept generation process phase. You are working in team. If 2 or 3 people only is more involved in developing this concept generation process, then some lack of confidence will be faced in the team. Commitment by the rest of the team will also become failure. So involvement should be, if there are 5 members involved for doing this concept generation phase, all the 5 members have to be fully fledged involved. Only 1 or 2 people involvement will not also lead to a betterment of the developing product concept. So ineffective integration of promising partial solutions. You have to give a complete solution for the concept generation phase. Ineffective integration of promising partial solution will also lead to some costly problems. Failure to consider entire categories of solutions. இப்போ ஒரு I'll show you one example product which is discussed in unit 2. அந்த particular gross roofing nailer பத்தி படிக்க போறோம். So in that, failure to consider entire category of solutions. You have to analyze the whole product functionality, its technology, the working principle. If any one thing has been, any one of the category of solution becomes failed, then automatically again you have to face this costly problem. They're simple da. So what is the main title? Under unit 2, we have to follow some structural approach to do that concept generation and selection process. This structural approach normally reduces the livelihood of costly problems. If we are not following the structural approach, what are the common abnormality the development team will face? So first, these are the things listed when we are not following the structural approach. One thing is, if we forgot to analyze 2 or 3 updated concept, okay, 1 or 2 alternative only we have, then it leads to costly problem. Failure to consider some usefulness of the concept which is already under some other organization which is not used in your product also may face some costly problem. Involvement of only 1 or 2 members in the team or in the process result in lack of confidence and commitment by the rest of the team. இப்போ கான்செப்ட் ஜென்ரேஷன் ப்ராசஸ்ல நீங்க ஒர்க் பண்றீங்க, இந்த டீம்ல ஒரு கோஆர்டினேஷன் இல்ல, they are not full-fledged working with involvement, automatically it will affect to the development team, implementation team, testing team, all the teams. Okay, so it's a very important thing have to be noted. So these are the common problem they undergo, abnormality faced when you focus on concept generation. To avoid these things in forming partial solutions, if you failure in recognition some solution or functionality in the product, automatically we can face more costly problem. To avoid these abnormality, we are following this structural approach. Try to understand this structural approach to concept generation phase reduce the incident of these problems by encouraging the gathering of information from many disparate information sources. What do you mean by disparate? Different information sources. This will lead to a success manner when you follow the structural approach. It reduces the incident of these problem. What are the problem? I have already discussed with you. If you are not forming one or two alternative concept, or if you are not following the useful concept followed in some other firm competitive products, which you have failed in using in your product, it will lead some costly problem. If only one or two members involved, other members, automatically one or two people only involved in process, there's no proper coordination in this team. It will result in lagging of confidence with the commitment by the rest of the teams. Ineffective integration of promising partial solution will lead also to the costly problem. If you have failed to consider some entire category of solutions, if you have missed some important functionality under some concept product, then automatically you'll face this costly problem. To avoid these things, we focus on some structural approach. When you go for the structural, we are going to follow some 5 method in that, which will reduce the incident of these problem by encouraging the gathering of information to the upcoming development teams for many different information sources. The 5-step method. You have to remember this diagram, very, very important. Frequently asked systema question, or you can ask for a subdivisions of 15 or that, not less than that. Very important. Part B question. 5-step method. Any doubt in this common life actions steps, students? Please reply. What are the abnormality we face in the concept generation if you are not following the structural approach? Any doubt you have? Please reply.
No doubts, ma'am.
Okay. So structural approach, what is the benefit, and what are the 5-step method involved in that structural approach for a concept generation? 5-step method. Break a complex problem into simpler sub-problem. Very simple. First point is break a complex problem. For example, automobile product நீங்க create பண்ண போறீங்க, or I'm going to show you gross roofing nailer. முன்னாடிலாம் வந்து we have a hammer, we have a nail, we have to, each and every carpenter will use that nail, and they have to do more force on entering that nail in a floor, or not floor, in a wood or something, right? Very difficult on those days. But nowadays they have used some innovation. They have integrated many things in a particular product where it is very useful for the carpenters or any people who are working for an interior designing. Okay, when they use this gross, try to understand, gross roofing nailer, which you have to consider here a complex problem. Those complex problem is into simpler sub-problems, how they are going to break that you are going to learn here. Solution concept are then identified by the sub-problems by external and internal search. Why we have to do this external and internal for the upcoming classes we'll understand. Today we are going to only cover the first step. Then we'll focus on classification trees and concept combination table. இது எதுக்குன்னு உங்களுக்கு புரியும். Are then used to systematically explore the space of solution concept and to integrate the sub-problem solution into a total solution. Very simple concept here. And finally, the team takes a step back to reflect on the validity. They have to check whether we have properly created the classification table. We have combined a table for that concept with many functionality. We will validate applicable of the result and as well as on the process used. Just try to understand under 5-step method what are the things we have to focus on. break a complex problem into simpler sub-problem. We have to do some external and internal search procedures for that particular concept to get a better solution. Then we have to create or form a classification tree and a concept combination table. Then finally, we have to validate and apply. Kindly note down, I'll give time, you write down this diagram. The 5-step concept generation method, very simple. 5-step order heading now. Clarify the problem. Search externally, search internally. Explore systematically. Reflect on the solution and the process. See, today we are seeing Unit 2. Unit 2 the main title was the concept generation. You just imagine now we are going to generate some concept. Or a concept it can be in any idea, any field. It can be a commercial product. We have seen many adoptable products list. Physical product, commercial product, large scale product, நிறைய products சொல்லிருக்கோம். அந்த எந்த product நீங்க மைண்ட்ல வச்சிருந்தாலும் the procedure to be followed, the method to be followed for doing this concept generation. First point, clarify the problem. How you will clarify the problem? In understanding the customer need, correct? Clarify the problem, understanding. Problem decomposition. I have already told the step 1 involves breaking the complex problem into simpler sub-problems. So problem decomposition is involved for step 1. Focus on critical sub-problems. So kindly note down the whole setup. But today we are only going to discuss the first step, clarify the problem. Unit 2 concept generation. In that 5-step concept generation method, main titles are clarify the problem, search externally, search internally. 4th step, explore systematically. 5th step, reflect on the solution and the process. In that first thing, clarifying the problem. Have you noted? Please reply. Why I am giving time for making you to write this thing? Because very important thing. It is frequently asked. No question paper is left out with this question. The question is compulsory. Clarify the problem, understanding, problem decomposition, focus on critical sub-problem. So I'll just, okay. Have you noted? Today I'll show you one video where it describes about a particular product, where you can keep that product in your mind and understand this first step, clarify the problem. Say yes or no, all have noted it?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, need not use scale and pencil, just neatly draw the box and just fill those information in it. Okay. The first step, clarification. Clarify the problem. How to clarify the problem? What is this involved? In developing a general understanding and then breaking the problem down into sub-problem if necessary. What is meaning by general understanding? Up to date, what is the customer need? Customer specifications and first you have to understand it. So clarifying the problem consists of developing a general understanding and then breaking the problem down into sub-problems. For example, customer I have already told an example product today we are going to see, that is the gross. I'll show that product. This is that product, concept generation. Cordless electric roofing nailer. So I have told on the previous generations we are only using nails and hammers to do more lot of work only by human beings. They have to just have a hold a nail and they have to give more force on pointing the nail to the wood or some interior works. Okay, furniture works. But nowadays they have created a new technology, inbuilt technology, integrated products where we need not and the work also will be completed more works can be completed with this uh, cordless electric roofing nailer. So try to understand. This is here we are going to clarify the problem. What is clarifying the problem? The problem is we have to create a particular product. The customer need is nailing the what interior furnitures. Okay, we have to do nailing. What was the existing product? What was followed till date? And what we have to do some innovation in that. We have to understand that. So generally understanding, developing a general understanding, and then breaking the problem down into sub problem. So a company before creating, this is a final product. Okay, this is a final product. There is a particular company who focus on understanding the customer need. They have done this innovations considering many sketching work, many working principle they have kept in mind. Then only they have created this final product. So try to understand first how they have clarified the problem. Clarifying the problem consists of developing a general understanding, and they have break the problem down into sub problems. What are all the categories in nailing the furnitures? Hard furnitures can be or shaped. If it is you have to curve shaped and the table oda edges la neenga join pananum. There are many problems, right? Normally they face when they create the furnitures. So they understand. So breaking the problem down into sub problem if necessary. The mission statement for the project. What is the mission statement? What is the customer need? Okay, according to the customer need, we have to focus on mission statement for the project. The customer need list you have to understand, and the preliminary product specifications. What is the preliminary? What is the primary need for the customer? Secondary needs எல்லாம் அந்த outer look எல்லாம் கொடுக்கறதெல்லாம் second. Functionality. How much of nails can be loaded to this product for a frequent gunning? Okay, gun பண்ணா அது ஆட்டோமேட்டிக் நிறைய nails நம்ம வந்து போடுறோம். அதை நான் காமிக்கிறேன், இந்த ப்ராடக்ட்டோட இது காமிக்கிறேன். So first under the clarification you have to focus on mission statement for the project. The customer need list have to be kept in hand. Preliminary product specifications, what are they? Or the ideal inputs to the customer generation process. What are the ideal inputs? Mission statement for the project. Then only we can focus on generating the concept for this particular development phase. Concept generation is needed. These are the inputs. What are the inputs for concept generation process? Mission statement for the project, customer needs list, and the preliminary product specification. Now before going for decomposing the complex problem into simpler sub-problem, we will understand this. We will understand this product. Can you hear it? Can you hear it, students? Please reply.
Yes, ma'am, but not clearly.
Yes. Normally you will have faced that problem. I will just share in the group. Kindly understand the working of that product. Are you ready? Say yes or no. Please reply. Click on this link which I have posted in your group. Are you all following? Say yes or no. Say yes or no.
Yes.
Yes.
Okay. Okay. Start.
Really surprised by it as well. I was actually kind of hesitant to start, but after using it, both single shot and multi-shot functions on it, didn't have problems using it.
It definitely does save time. Not having to worry about getting lines out, not having to worry about playing. It's great to have it for once.
Did you understand that product? Please reply.
Yes, ma'am.
Ma'am.
What did you understand?
Easy to use, ma'am. Comparing to hammer.
Yes, fine. And work will also be fast and it is more comfortable for the builders who use that product. And there are many variety of that. Okay, Bosch is one type of it. And if you have observed this link, okay, here they would have shown. Yes, you would have seen here that product using that. There are many ways to operate a product, right? It can be like battery or electrical, through electric force or battery or through mnemonic force, right? So that you will understand now when you go for this concept generations. This so ஒரே ஒரு ப்ராடக்ட் தான் நிறைய கான்செப்ட்ல அது பர்டிகுலர் ப்ராடக்ட் ஆப்ரேட் பண்ணலாம். Sub concepts, okay, sub functionalities are there. Okay. According to the customer, it differs. Some customer, I need some battery uploaded thing, or through electrical force I can operate this product, or mnemonic force. Okay, those things only we are going to understand in coming classes. So here you have to clarify the problem. The problem is, on those days, what is the problem we have faced? We have to start developing the general understanding about that product. Now we are going to create a new innovative products. Integrated products means we have to understand what is the customer necessity nowadays. Breaking the problem down into sub problems if necessary. If you are going to deal with any complex problem cannot be full-fledged involved in understanding the functionality specifications. We have to focus on dividing it into sub problems. So then under concept generation, what are the ideal inputs needed? Mission statement for the project, customer need list, and the preliminary product specifications. Under classification, I mean clarifying the problem, first step involved in concept generation. In that, you have to understand how to decompose the complex problem into simpler sub-problem. So many design challenges are too complex to solve a single problem. Okay. So there are many interior works. There are many சில கஸ்டமர்ஸ்லாம் எனக்கு இந்த மாதிரி டிசைனிங் வேணும், இன்டீரியர் டிசைன் which is not even possible. Also they will be asking for the company through this product it should be achieved. Maybe many challenges, many design challenges are too complex to solve a single problem and can be usefully divided into several simpler sub problems. So after developing those simpler sub problems, for example, here another example is given. Document copier. Do you understand what is document copier? Xerox, right? இப்போ அந்த design of complex product, இங்க வந்து complex product வந்து என்னது? Document copier. Do you think only one functionality will be performed in that Xerox, document copier? Do you think like that? Only ஒரே ஒருத்துக்கு தான் யூஸ் பண்ண முடியும். ஜஸ்ட் நம்ம வந்து பேப்பர்ஸ் நிறைய டாக்குமெண்ட்ஸ் எடுக்கிறதுக்கு மட்டும் தான் அது யூஸ் ஆகுமா? டாக்குமெண்ட் ஹேண்டில் பண்ணணும், பேப்பரை ஃபீட் பண்றதுக்கு ஒரு ஃபங்க்ஷனாலிட்டி நம்ம கிரியேட் பண்ணணும் அந்த ப்ராடக்ட்டுக்கு. யூ ஜஸ்ட் இமேஜின் த ப்ராடக்ட் நேம் இஸ் டாக்குமெண்ட் காப்பியர். Okay, the product name is document copier. Document copier எப்படி இருக்கும்? இந்த மாதிரி இருக்கும், right? This is a complex. See, this is a particular product, and the product name is document copier. What they have discussed in this line, for example, if you just imagine you have a complex product, that complex product name is document copier. To design that complex product name document copier can be brought off as a collection of more focused design problem. In a design problem, we have to keep in mind when you start creating this product, it have to include, when we say it is a complete document copier, when it is fulfilling the design of a document handler. And the concept அதுக்குள்ள இருக்கும். The design of a paper feeder. Paper feed பண்ணாதான் காப்பி பண்ண முடியும். ஸோ அதுக்கு ஒரு ஃபங்க்ஷனாலிட்டி நம்ம ஃபோக்கஸ் பண்ணணும். Design of printing device. Design of printing device. Printing device functionality have to be involved. And the design of image capture device. So these are the sub problems. Several simpler sub problems. So complex products, if you focus on, you have to decompose those complex problems into simpler sub problems. The design of document handler, design of paper feeder. இது எதுக்கு நான் வந்து இதை டெப்தா சொல்றேன்னா, here complex product I have shown. In that complex product, one particular function is designing the document handler. So adu oru functionality. The overall set is called as document copier. In that document copier, we have many subsystems, sub problems. Design of a document handler, design of a paper feeder, design of a printing device, and the design of an image capture device. So this is how we have to divide a problem into simpler sub-problem, and that is called as problem decomposition. Any doubt you have? Please reply. Any doubt? So here they have given an example complex problem like document copier. You can consider any complex problem like automobile or like two-wheelers or our computer, laptops. Any complex product, many functionalities are involved. So the design of complex product you have to choose, and what are all the sub-problems involved in that. Sub-designings. Okay. The design of a document. When these sub-problems are involved only, we can focus on this complex problem. Are you all getting me? There are many schemes by which problems can be decomposed. So what do you have to do under the first step, concept generation method? When you are going to identify or clarify the problem, first you have to understand what the problem is, developing by general understanding. Then the problem down into sub-problems. You have to understand whether the complex product what we have choose for developing has to be divided into sub-problems. That also you have to get through it. If is it necessary to do some sub-problem in it? Is it necessary to break the problem down into sub-problem, or all done in the clarifying the problem step? Are you all getting me? Please reply. Say yes or no, please. Please reply, students.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, so after that, under this clarifying the problem, we have to have some ideal inputs in our hand. One thing is the mission statement for the project. Why we have to have these input? Then only we can check with our concept whether we are fulfilling the mission of statement for the project, whether we are fulfilling the customer need, whether we are primarily focusing on the primary need of the customer, which is said to be a primary, product specifications. So these are the inputs we have to keep in our hand when you do this clarifying the problem. Next, when you go for decomposing any complex problem into some simpler sub-problem, many design challenge or too complex to solve that complex problem. We have to solve the single problem, the complex single problem into, you have to divide into several simpler sub problem. For example, if you are going to you are going to deal in working with the complex problem, you just imagine your duty is to design a complex product, and the product name is document copier. Now the document copier complex problems are divided into simpler sub problems. What are the simpler sub problem deal with this complex problem? One is design of a document handler, design of a paper feeder, design of a printing device, and design of an image capture device. These are the sub problems. Similarly, whatever product you keep in mind, if you are necessary to divide into sub problem, you have to identify those things. You have to decompose those complex problem into simpler sub problem. So what you have to do? You have to do many understanding for that problem. How many? Developing a general understanding. Then you have to focus on breaking those problem into sub problems. So we have seen this product usage, where this product is being used, and the overall structure of that product, and the whole unit 2, this particular product oda specifications, idoda sub problems mattum dhaan nama cover panna porom. So try to understand in the product oda black box. What do you mean by black box? Anybody can tell me general meaning? This is called, they are telling this is the overall black box of the product. Apna enna meaning? Black box na enna? What do you mean by black box? இப்போ சாஃப்ட்வேர் இன்ஜினியரிங்லாம் படிச்சிருப்பீங்க, ஒயிட் பாக்ஸ் டெஸ்டிங், பிளாக் பாக்ஸ் டெஸ்டிங். No? Can anyone explain me what is black box mean? Say yes or no. You do you know or not? தெரியலன்னா தெரியலன்னு சொல்லுங்க. No issues. See, black box means if a handheld nailer is the product, right? Product ஓட உள்ள இருக்கிற ஃபங்க்ஷனாலிட்டி என்னன்னு தெரியாது. அது என்னென்ன பார்ட்ஸ் யூஸ் பண்ணியிருக்காங்க, எப்படி இன்டகிரேட் பண்ணியிருக்காங்க, ஃபேப்ரிகேட் பண்ணியிருக்காங்க. Those details will not be known. We only will know if you give this input, this will be the output. That is called as black box testing. I mean black box, overall black box. So in this subdivision A, they have explained about the product whatever we have seen now. Okay, the nailer, cordless electric roofing nailer. Adoda, if you give this input, what will be the output? The overall black box here. A handheld nailer, if you give some electrical energy or mnemonic energy, what energy is produced out? What type of materials is used? Nails inside this nailer. What material is driven as nail? Okay, come on out. Signal to trip. Okay, triggering. Okay, trip. What tool is used and what signal is passed out? So இது வந்து overall அந்த cordless electric roofing nailer ஓட overall performance பத்தி சொல்றது. So this particular diagram, which is said to be a functional diagram of a handheld nailer arising from a functional decomposition. Because our idea is any complex problem we have to divide into simpler sub-problem. So how you have to do that? First you have to identify its overall functional diagram, overall functional decomposition. What input, what output? First we have to focus that. First we have to draw that. That is the first step involved in decomposing the complex problem into simpler sub-problem. So it's easy for you to draw this diagram. Just focus on the product, write the product name, handheld nailer, input, output, what type of energy is passed and what type of energy is let out, what is the material used for nail and what is the material driven out, punched in the wood. Signal tool tip, okay, and signals. If you see the second part of this diagram, refinement showing subfunctions. Meaning is, I have told this is the input, this is the output. அப்போ black boxல நம்மளுக்கு என்ன தெரிய வரும்? What type of input if you give, what type of output? We don't know. இப்போ for example, ஒரு கோடிங் மாதிரி நாம் வச்சுக்கோங்க. சாஃப்ட்வேர்ல ஒரு ஜாவா கோடிங் பண்றீங்க. ஜாவாவோட உள்ள இருக்கிற ஸ்ட்ரக்சர்ஸ் எதுவுமே உங்களுக்கு தெரியாது. ஓகே, ஒரு வெப்சைட்ல ஒரு ஃபார்ம் கிரியேட் பண்ணிட்டு பேக் எண்ட்ல ஒரு ஜாவா இல்ல பைத்தான் ரன் ஆகுது. பட் யூ பீங் அ யூசர், யூ கிவ் ரெஜிஸ்ட்ரேஷன்ஸ் ஏதோ பண்றீங்கன்னா, யூ கிவ் அன் இன்புட், the output is shown for you. So that is called as overall black box known by when you use that product. Similarly, here it has been shown. This is the inner part of it. When you consider handheld nailer, what type of energy if you give? It stores and accepts the external energy and convert energy to translating energy. இப்போ நீங்க நிமோனிக் எனர்ஜி நீங்க கொடுக்குறீங்கன்னா, அந்த நிமோனிக் எனர்ஜி எந்த வேல அது பாஸ் ஆயிட்டு then it apply for the nails which is been loaded inside that device, I mean product, then it is let by the nail out. இப்போ உங்களுக்கு கிட்டத்தட்ட ஸ்டாப்லர் பின் மாதிரி. இப்போ when you use staplers, you have lot of pins inside it. Do you think at the stretch all the 10 will be pressed out? No, right? Only one. So there is some little functionality involved inside it. So அதை பத்தி நம்ம படிக்கிறது தான். So when you start creating any of the product, you have to analyze those things. What type of energy we are going to build inside this product, and when you store and or accept those external energy, how that external energy is been converted to its translating energy. நிமோனிக் ஃபோர்ஸை வந்து அப்படியே நம்ம அப்ளை பண்ண முடியாது. some control have to be done, right? You have to translate some less energy in this case when it is passing inside this product. Then automatically apply translating energy to a particular nail. There will be a lot of nail for loaded only to particular nail. That functionality, that force have to be applied. Then that will be letted out. Able to understand the flow, students? Please reply.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes. Similarly, nails. When we load this input of materials nails inside that product, lot of nails are stored there. That stored nails are moved to isolated nails. Or functionality irukku. Only one particular nail is moved to this part, and through this energy, it has been combined. Both force involved. One particular nail has been with this particular energy force. அப்படியே கொஞ்சம் கம்மியாயிரும். When applied, it will be more. When come to this part, it will be in a control. Then automatically, when both the things are involved, that isolated one particular nail will be applied and it will be went out. So these are the inner functionality. Trip of tools, sense tip. Okay, it is sensing the tip, whether it is sharp or if all times when you apply this force, all time the particular nails will not be pointed. Sometimes if pin is not proper, ஒரு ஸ்டேப்லரே நீங்க வச்சுட்டா சில டைம் வந்து ஒழுங்காவே அது ஃபங்க்ஷனாலிட்டி கொடுக்கல அப்படின்னா அது கரெக்டா பின் ஆகாது, வேஸ்ட் ஆயிரும் ஒரு பின் அந்த மாதிரி. ஸோ சென்ஸ் டிப். தென் ட்ரிகர் டூல். Continuously you have to do that working of nail force, right? Then you will apply some translation energy to nail, and then so ஒரு particular energy vachi with the nail storage, then using some technique, these functionality are involved in the product, then only the particular working is done, the output is given perfectly. So this is said to be the overall refinement shown in the sub-functionals. There's an overall function, there's a sub-function involved inside the product. So this is how we divide the problem into sub-problems. The first step is decomposing the problem functionally to represent a single black box operating on materials, energy and signal flow. Try to understand any product you consider. First you have to create a black box of it. What are the input? What is the output? So here in this case, under cordless electric roofing nailer, first step is we have decomposed the problem, the functionality in a single black box operating on material, energy and signal flow are shown. thick solid lines. Here thick solid lines இருக்கு இல்லையா? Thick solid lines represent transfer and conversion of energy. If you are forming a mnemonic energy or electrical energy, how it has been transformed, conversions of energy. Thin solid lines shows this energy. Thick solid lines signifies the movements of materials within the system. Dashed lines, there are dashed lines here. This represent the flow of control and feedback signal within the system. So overall representation of black box. This black box represents the overall function of the product. Next step, we focus on function decomposition. What are the sub-functions involved in this product, inside the product? It is divided into single black box into sub-functions. Create a more specific description of what the element of the product might do. Specific-ஆ இருக்கிறது அதான் white box சொல்லுவாங்க. உள்ள என்ன நடக்குது in order to implement the overall function of the product. So each sub-function are generally for future divided into even simpler sub-problems. So இது வரைக்கும் பார்த்தது ஜஸ்ட் இதுக்குள்ள இருக்கிறது நிறைய சப் ப்ராப்ளம்ஸ் இருக்கும். இப்போ எனர்ஜின்னு நம்ம பாஸ் பண்றோம். எனர்ஜிலேயே நிறைய டைப் ஆஃப் எனர்ஜி இருக்கு. எலக்ட்ரிக்கல் எனர்ஜி இருக்கு, மெக்கானிக்கல் ஃபோர்ஸ் எனர்ஜி இருக்கு, நிமோனிக் எனர்ஜி இருக்கு. ஸோ அதுக்குள்ள இருக்கிற நிறைய சப் ப்ராப்ளம்ஸை நம்ம ஐடென்டிஃபை பண்ணோம். ஈச் சப் ஃபங்க்ஷன்ஸ் கேன் ஜென்ரலி பி ஃபர்தர் டிவைடட் இன்டு ஈவன் ஸ்மாலர் சப் ஃபங்க்ஷன்ஸ். The division process is repeated until the team members agree that each sub functions is simple enough to work with. There are நிறைய discussion வச்சு these are the maximum energy force we can utilize for this particular product. So they will analyze and form the process. Some useful techniques for getting started are: you have to create a functional diagram like this of an existing product. These are the steps you have to do, students, when you focus on any product creation. Create a function diagram based on an arbitrary product concept already generated by the team and based on the subfunction technology. Be sure to generalize the diagram to the appropriate level of abstractions. This is called as appropriate level. What are all the inner functionality involved for the product? You have to appropriate it. Follow one of the flow. You have to focus on materials and determine what operations are required for that particular material. Okay, the flow have to be identified. That's it. So functional decomposition, there are two steps that we'll see later class. Already it's time. I'll post you this link. Kindly understand. It is very easy. Not now. Okay. Fully see, students, this full deals about the unit 2 concept, but till now whatever we have discussed, clarifying the problem, that alone you see. Okay, till this yes, these are things we have discussed. Clarifying the problem, first step மட்டும் நீங்க படிச்சு வைங்க, மீதெல்லாம் நம்ம அடுத்த டைம் பார்க்கலாம். யூனிட் 2 ஓட full process 5 step மெத்தடும் இதுல உங்களுக்கு புரியும். Will you follow this? I'll share this. இன்னைக்கே படிச்சிருங்க. Don't postpone the work, then you can't understand the concept. Will you do or not? Please reply. Okay, will you do?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Okay. Jayasuriya, did you note down the absentees?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Thank you, students. You can leave the session. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you all.